Having a look at your lead story this half hour, in 2017, the horror of the Life Esidimeni transfers was laid bare during the arbitrations, detailing how 144 patients died from, among other things, hunger, dehydration and cold at various unlicensed NGOs in Gauteng. While others buried as paupers, while many remained unaccounted for. And despite being compensated, aggrieved families still need closure as the criminal case appears to be drawn out. Well, so far, the Gauteng Health Department has managed to trace 5 of the 21 missing patients. But for more on the story, we now speak to SABC reporter Maageketla Mohlabe, who joins us now in studio. Very good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Take us through the process of retrieving some of these missing patients. We do believe 5 have been confirmed to be found. What is the status? Are they alive? Are they well?
Well, what we know from the department, they are saying that these 5 patients that have been found, they are alive. So, of course, they've been reunited with their families, as you mentioned in your intro. But the most shocking thing one of these patients that were reunited with their families, I understand that he was in the streets. So he was found in the streets, of course, begging with nowhere to go. And obviously, you can imagine this happened for more than 3 years. So at this stage, we know that only 16 are still unaccounted for. So the department saying that they will work with the Department of Home Affairs, Social Development in the province to locate these missing patients.
Now, with regard to that patient that was found to be on the streets, have you been able to get the story as to how exactly he ended up on the streets being moved from a facility?
So what we have done so far is actually follow these 2 patients that the department actually visited at their homes today. So I think that's the story that needs to follow up. But what we know is that from the families that we've been able to engage with, obviously detailing how panicking they were during the hearings at the time, they were not able to locate their loved ones. Obviously, you'd recall the horrific stories that came out through that arbitration hearings. We heard of other patients that were actually abused, beaten, of course, dehydrated, of course, not given food throughout their stay at these ill-equipped NGOs. But at this stage, we understand that the department telling us that they are working on a system, electronic system, to be able to keep track of these patients in order to avoid the calamity that we saw during the transfers from Life Esidimeni.
Now, 16 families are still hoping and waiting somehow that, one of their family members might come to the fore. Take us through what the process has been from the department in actually being able to retrieve and find the individuals.
So what I understand is that the department has been visiting various NGOs. And of course, let me just emphasize that those ill-equipped NGOs have been shut down. That's according to the department. So the department has been visiting these NGOs that are legal, of course, trying to locate these other patients that are still missing. Hence, they've actually come out with a number of 5 patients that they've managed to reunite with the families. And of course, this happened over the past 2 weeks. So the process of locating all those other remaining missing patients is still ongoing.
Now, you've been on the ground, you've been doing a follow-up story, you've been visiting the homes of some of these affected families. Have you been able to gauge an emotion and sense from what has transpired?
In fact, when we arrived at one of the patients' homes in Lenasia, south of Johannesburg this morning, we found the patient himself, Mr. Georgie van der Merwe, standing at the gate. He actually opened the gate for us, and of course we got in at his house, and of course he welcomed us, sat down, he spoke to us, and of course detailing how he was treated at one of the NGOs. And let me just emphasize that he doesn't remember some of the NGOs that he was taken to. He just knows that he was in Pretoria. So he tells us that he was being beaten, he was being pushed, he was sometimes not given food, and he says that I don't think that I'm going to go back there. Now I just want to spend time with my family, because for 5 years I had been missing them. I had been looking to have them in front of me, speak to me, and of course spend more time with them. He's only 60, but he's saying that for the past 5 years it's been difficult for him.
Thank you very much for giving us updates and insights into that. Definitely going to be a follow-up story, of course. Maageketla Mohlabe for SABC News, just taking us through one of those 5 patients that had been found, that had been declared missing from the 21 families, and describing how he himself had actually opened the gate. We'll continue to give you updates on that story as and when they come in.